We're going to talk today about dentist financial planning and whether or not you should hire a dentist-specific financial planner. I'm going to talk about what kind of value you might get out of that relationship, what it might cost, and some hidden questions that you need to ask to make sure that you get a good deal and make sure you're not ripped off. So let's take a look at these specific questions that you need to ask. So, first of all, ask your financial planner, are you a fiduciary? Now, that's an important question, but it's not the only thing that matters. You can be a fiduciary and still charge somebody $20,000 a year and want 2% of their portfolio every year. So, fiduciary is important, but it's a lot more to it than that. Fiduciary could still mean getting not great value for the amount of money you're paying, right? There's no guarantee that just because someone's a fiduciary that they're going to give you great advice. So, you want to find out that they're a fiduciary, but you need to ask more probing questions than that. There's things within fiduciary too. There's fee-based fiduciary and there's fee-only fiduciary. Some people will say only work with a fee-only fiduciary. I think that is, it's helpful, but it's not a complete answer. And the reason for that is consider a firm like us. We have a student loan planner. It's a separate business, but it's also controlled by me. And we have student loan refinancing bonuses that are bigger than you can get. If you go directly and go apply to these companies, you won't get the refinancing bonuses that we have advertised on our website. But because technically that is an advertising source, that makes us have to use the fee-based word instead of fee-only, right? So really it's fiduciary and then asking somebody to disclose clearly what conflicts of interest do you have. Because even if somebody is fee-only fiduciary, their interest is if you're paying them 20 grand a year, right? Their interest is going to be to meet with you as little as possible to make you feel like you got enough value to get that 20 grand a year. Or if they're getting a very large percent of your portfolio every year, they're going to try to make your portfolio potentially look more complicated to make it feel like you have to use them. So just because someone's fiduciary doesn't mean that they are, super special. It just means that they have a higher standard of care that they have to operate on. Now, number two, does the firm you're thinking about hiring have expertise in working with dentists, right? So the firm, if it has expertise in working with dentists, I think that is that's pretty provable if you ask some very specific questions of give me some examples of conversations you've had with your dentist clients of the past several months. What's some examples of just success stories without sharing any client information that you've had? Things that you've helped solve for problems that are unique to my profession. There's a lot of firms out there where it's all about marketing. It's all about sort of, making you feel like they're dentist specific, but they really aren't, right? And the best way to ask this is figure this out is just ask probing questions. Three is, does this group that you're thinking about hiring have expertise in advising practice owners as well as associates making different transitions or thinking about making transitions? So if you are a dentist-specific planner, you should probably know a lot about different kinds of depreciation things that you can take, Section 179A, if you can run a truck or car through your practice or not, how depreciation works, the bonus depreciation with things like CBCT or CAD-CAM or something along those lines, how depreciation for your corporate building, your practice works if you're going to buy the building versus lease it for a 10-year period or something like that. So there's all kinds of very specific questions, and you have to have a lot of knowledge about the profession to be able to give good advice on this. Does the planner know that the typical percent for overhead is 50-60% for general dentists and about maybe 50% or a little bit less for specialists? Do they know that practices tend to sell for anywhere from 60% of revenues to 150% of revenues, but a lot of it depends on the earnings. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can figure out really quickly by asking probing questions from your financial planner to see if they know the dental profession or not. The next question is, do you have dental student loans? If you do, then this is a major part of your financial puzzle. And there's a lot of firms that, are very afraid of losing your business. And so they're going to try to seem very competent, even though they might potentially not be all that competent on certain issues. So you have to be aware of that there might be some situations where they actually don't know that well the topic that you need them to know. And if that's the case, you got to find somebody that is actually a good fit that understands student loans, and if that's important to you. So the fifth point I've got, dentists have a lot more tax and financial planning unique challenges and issues compared to other professions. So a couple of these for dentists would be things like, what kind of retirement plans can you set up? Can you do a defined benefit plan in addition to a 401k profit sharing plan and put hundreds of thousands of dollars away for retirement every year? Should you be doing multi-site locations and building up a practice empire in your area, or should you focus on one big practice and try to make that the most profitable that you can? What are some situations where you need to be really careful about partnerships? What kind of problems pop up with partnerships? If you're offered a stock or profit deal in combination with like a DSO, is that a good deal to take, or should you be really careful about that? There's all kinds of considerations. And also from a tax perspective, there's lots of things such as when you become an S corp, which a lot of practice owners do, could you get a QBI deduction for that? Sometimes that's limited by being a specified trade or service business. And so then can you get your AGI low enough where you could potentially qualify for writing off, a huge percentage of your business income every year through that deduction? So there's all kinds of very specific things that dentists need to know that if you're a financial planning client or planner that's a generalist and you have 5 dentist clients out of 100 clients you work with, they're not going to know these things. And that could cost you a lot more money than the amount of money you would save by paying them, a little bit less, right? So if there's other questions that you feel like you should ask a dental specific financial planner to know if they're worth their salt, or if you have other questions for me about what dental financial planning is versus other types of financial planning, put them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching Student Loan Planner.